Hello guys, how is it going? I hope you are having a good day. Today we'll talk about compressors. A compressor is basically a dynamic volume controller which attenuates louder sounds and amplify quieter sounds. So the volume of your guitar doesn't go up and down, louder and quieter, but instead it stays very stable in such a way that it's easier to control the volume and it sounds better with the overall band. In fact, overdrive provides some natural compression, and distortion also provides some natural compression. But for metal, eventually you need that additional sustain, especially on the higher notes and this area of the guitar during solos, or when you're playing one single string or one single note. The compressor amplifies it a little bit, so it keeps the sound stable, which is very good for solos. Well, the thing is, inside the compressors, you have operational amplifiers, and each operational amplifier generates noise, which is not good. In my pedal board, I have a stock Boss CS3 compressor. This one is the most classic one, and it's present in a lot of pedal boards in the world, but it's still too noisy for me. Obviously, the sound you just heard was amplified for you to notice the noise, but yeah, you got the idea. So, in spite of the noise, it's still a very good compressor. So the way I deal with it at the moment is to use a noise gate, which is the Sentry by DC Electronic. It works pretty well with Boss CS3. Before I proceed with this video, it's very important to say that neither of these brands are sponsoring me, so I bought all these pedals and all the mods with my own money, so no sponsor here. This is my true opinion and only biased by my own experience. Although I like it, I'm not totally 100% satisfied with the product, so I'm still looking for something less noisy that I can increase a bit more the compression and still the guitar to be less noisy. So I was searching for options on the internet and I found a lot of products, very good ones, interesting ones. But most of them are boutique pedals, so they are much more expensive than the Boss CS3, even on the second-hand market. So I came with another option. What if I try to mod my pedal? And I found Monte Allums modification page on internet. Monte Allums is an American guy who does this modifications on pedals, and I think those kind of guys are brilliant. And he was selling these mod kits for about $20. So yeah, why not to give a go? It's way less expensive than to buying a boutique pedal. And yeah, it is very promising, the way it advertised and the technical specs of the new chips they provided. The only main downside is that I had to build the thing by myself. But as an electronics engineer, I see no problem at all. So why not to give a go? I have the skills. Why not? So I made the purchase, and after a couple of weeks I got the instruction manual and all the parts required to do the modifications on the pedal. What I found amazing about the instructions manual is that they are very detailed. So it's very hard for you to lose yourself unless you have no ability whatsoever on soldering and on electronics. It's basically impossible for you not to know what to do, because it's so detailed. There's so much information. It tells you the full story from the very beginning, including all the tools you need and everything that could go wrong. So yeah, I got a pedal here, I got the mod kit here and the instructions here. So let's do the mod and let's see how hard it is to do. So guys, this is the first issue I'm having with the mod. Actually, there is a 1K resistor that is on the manual for us to change, but actually two resistors came. This one I'm pretty sure is not 1K because the colors is red, so it's 2K2. But the other one, the colors are not very distinct. It's not easy to see the colors because of the blue background mainly. So I'm not completely sure that this one is 1K. So I had to use a multimeter to measure this resistor, and when I did, you can see it is almost 1K. So yes, this is the one that is 1K, but it means that you might need to have the knowledge of how to use one multimeter when doing this mod, particularly if you have any questions. So I wouldn't say it's mandatory, but it's a recommendation. If you don't know how to use a multimeter, it may be necessary for you to ask help of a friend or someone that knows how to use a multimeter. The annoying thing about doing this mod is that the recommendation is for each time you change one component, you test the pedal again. But in my opinion, the way the pedal is and the way you have to do to test the pedal multiple times, either you reassemble it again and test it, or you test with it disassembled like this, which it represents a risk to the pedal itself for something touch on the electronics and you might ruin your pedal. The way I did is, instead of testing the pedal every time I change a component, I change a bunch of components, 5 or 6 components, but before replacing one of the components, I tested it using the multimeter again to make sure the component is working and the component is matching its value. So it reduces a lot the risk of your component is wrong and you installs a wrong component or a damaged component. In my opinion, this is less risky than trying to test every time for each component. Another component that I found really difficult to determine the polarity is the diodes. So it's clearly on the old diodes, I don't know if you can see on camera, but on old diodes the marking, the polarity marking is very clear, but the new diodes it's not so clear. So yeah, it's hard. I don't think you can see on camera, but the other one is very clear, this one is not so clear. So once again I use the multimeter to assess the polarity of the new ones. And yeah, it required some knowledge. So after about 2 hours, I finished modding the CS3. I already made a quick test, so I know it's working. I'll just reassemble it back. So I have to admit, I thought it was going to be easier, but it's not that easy, particularly when you have to remove the solder from these inline op-amps. It was harder than I thought, harder than I expected. And I don't recommend you to do it by yourself if you don't have experience on soldering electronic stuff. Okay guys, so the pedal is now fully reassembled back to the pedal board, and you can notice one of the good things about this mod is this LED that is now blue, matching the color of the compressor. Although it doesn't matter anymore because it's just aesthetics. I just made all the adjustments on the pedal board, so definitely I changed the way the noise gate behaves. So let's listen to the noise level of this pedal after the mod. Okay guys, so we have about 3 dB less noise on the modded version of the CS3. 3 dB is not a massive noise reduction, but it's some noise reduction, and you might say that this new modded version is quieter than the stock version, but not so much. But don't expect a massive reduction. Don't expect all the noise to go away, because it's just not true. Some noise will always be there, and the noise reduction is not massive. So calibrate your expectation for this. You won't get more than maybe 6 dB, but not much more than that. I got 3 dB. I'm happy with what I've got for the price. Don't expect all the noise to go, because this will not happen. Every op-amp has noise, and a CS3 has a lot of op-amps, so it is expected that a reasonable amount of noise will be introduced if you use high compression rates. So what I did now, I readjusted my noise gate for this new compressor with this reduced noise levels. What I'm expecting now is that the noise gate will stay more time open, which means we will have more sustain. So when I play the note, I'll have more time before the noise gate closes. So let's see what happens. So what's the verdict? You can see I got less 3 dB of noise, which is very good, but to be honest, I was expecting more, at least minus 10 dB. But minus 3 dB is not terrible, it's a good result. Just remember to keep your expectations under control. The second thing about the mod is you really need to have your electronic skills up to date, because it requires a lot of effort and a lot of technique, especially the soldering the inline op amps. It's not a trivial thing. If you don't have experience, it's likely that you might damage your pedal, or you need to hire someone to do the service for you, which add more cost to the pile, and maybe it's not worthy the cost. In that case, maybe it's better for you to go after a boutique pedal and buy a finished product, and that's it. I would only recommend someone to buy this kit if you know what you're doing, if you have the skills, and if you need a compressor, a good compressor with some acceptable level of noise, but less than the original CS3, the stock version from Boss. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.